Politicians using your money to buy votes? Stay tuned.
From Philadelphia, the home of the Liberty Bell, Financial Freedom Radio starts now. Here's your host, Raymond Jewell.
Today we're going to talk about politicians using your money to buy your vote and how it affects the economy. So we're going to dig into it pretty deeply and talk about how you can beat this and not worry about it and have it not affect your life. But first, let's welcome our producer slash taskmaster. How's that, Steve?
I'll take that title. I like that title. It works for me. How are you today, Dr. Ray? Did you have a good weekend?
I did. How about you?
It was good. It was good. Got a lot done. Got a lot accomplished around the house.
You know, I'm going to say the old trite thing, it wasn't long enough, but I'm retired. So every day is a holiday, and every meal's a banquet.
That's right. Yeah, I'm starting to dislike weekends as the summer gets closer and we spring forward. The wife has got me very busy. I'm like, I like the relaxing week part.
Yeah. But as I said, I am kind of retired. I do this, and I sold my consulting business back about 10 years ago. So when we go out to dinner with friends, we normally have a tendency to say, well, what are you doing Friday night? What are you doing Saturday night? One of my friends says, what's so magic about Friday and Saturday night? You got to go to school?
Exactly.
You got to go to work?
Yep.
So
Yep.
We are so conditioned to do things on the weekend and not go out during the week.
Yep.
So anyway, one of the things I want to share with you is to ask you, please help us build our show base and share, and subscribe to there it is. I asked Steve to do that, and boy, that's a great little banner.
I work hard.
Share, share, and subscribe to our show because we want to get the word out, and our podcasts are fairly new. We're up to show number 11, and we feel that this information can help people, and if you could share it, we would be ever so grateful and thankful for doing that. So let's talk about the government using your money. They've been doing this for years, and we have been borderline socialistic for long time. Matter of fact, one of the Democrats' favorite icons is Franklin Delano Roosevelt, alias FDR. And he did this. He was masterful at doing this because when we came out of the Depression, one of the things that the government did was create these work programs, Civilian Conservation Corps, CCC, WPA. There was a whole bunch of them. And this was supposed to funnel money to people so that they could live. But in order to get a job, you had to register with the Democratic Party. What a novel idea. They are able to collect your votes and give you a job if you're a Democrat. And so they were ensuring that you'd vote for them. And he ended up getting 3 terms. So politicians have been doing this for a very long time, using your money to buy your votes. And you know what's crazy about it, Steve? People fall for it. They let it happen all the time. How many times have you actually perked up when somebody said, I'm going to give you free college?
I'd like that.
Many? Yeah. I mean, you're a parent. Wouldn't you like the kids to go to college for free?
I know my kids would have enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's right. But we end up thinking it through and consequently realizing it's not possible. What did Truman? A chick in every pot and a car in every garage, something like that. So when we look at this, the Dems promise to give you all free stuff. I mean, they are doing it full bore this election. And last week we pointed out how socialism can put us in a category of Venezuela very, very fast. In 20 years, Venezuela went from one of the wealthiest countries on the planet to one of the poorest. And I mean, they are in bad shape down there. So we don't want to ever say it can't happen. It can happen. Now, the Democrats give you free stuff with your money, and the Republicans give you your money back. Let's look at what's going on in this economy and in this political climate. The Dems, Bernie Sanders of the world, the Elizabeth Warren, and even Biden are promising you all this free stuff with your money. What's Donald Trump doing? He's wanting to give it back. He's given tax cuts. He's given tax benefits to businesses, and he wants to have a payroll tax holiday. Now, what that means is they will cut down on your Social Security contributions and other taxes for a holiday of a year to stimulate further growth. It's a known fact that when governments, and we talked about this last week, I think we did, Steve, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. When the governments have lower taxes, they collect more money in the coffers. So the revenues go up as the taxes go down. For some reason, our liberal elite, so-called amazing thinkers can't figure this out. And I actually read over the weekend that economics taught in schools these days is not based on actually taking the data and massaging it. They're making assumptions and moving from the assumptions. And we're going to do a whole series on assumptions starting next week. So if you really want to get a great view on where things are going wrong, believe me, this is one of the reasons why they have business failures. And all you folks that are running small businesses or home-based businesses want to know why you're not able to be successful. You want to tune into this series that was coming up, because let me tell you, we're going to dig deep. It may get a little heady, and like my friend Steve calls it, technobabble, but once we cut through it, it will be an eye-opener for you. So tune in next week too. So when you give away free stuff, what do you end up? You end up with an inefficient government. And we're going to look at what happens when you have an inefficient government and the government agents are totally incompetent. I managed to pull this the other day off of the internet. And let's take a look at slide 1, Steve. And by the way, if you're listening to this on a podcast and not the video part, or reading this, if you go to youtube.com/financial freedom radio, you can see the video part. This was a fella, Daniel Horowitz, he wrote an article about federal government and spending and wasting money. And it said the federal government issued $175 billion in improper payments in 2019. $175 billion. That would go a long way over a 10-year period to paying off a lot of debt. And this was in Medicare and the medical area. So when you look at the inefficiencies, you can see that these big agencies don't manage what they're doing very well. What was also amazing is when you look at FDR, that's when it all started to become clear that the liberal thinkers of this world wanted big government. And that was the start of big government, when you had the work programs and when you had the WPA, the water programs, and all of the other things that he was doing to stimulate the economy. So what that resulted in was big agencies. And the bigger the agencies got, the less competent people were in running them. And this is a pure show of incompetence when you have government wasting money, losing money, and people ripping the government off. And it goes on. I mean, Ronald Reagan had a Citizens Against Waste that was run by a fellow named Grace, who was, I guess at the time, he was a billionaire, and he started running this. He created a government against against government waste. That's what it was. So let's look at slide 2. And every year, the Government Accountability Office will take a look at the improper payments. And here it is. Imagine taking $175 billion in cash and flushing it down the toilet. And that's what the government did last year, 2019. And every year, the Government Accounting Office tracks the amount of improper payments made by various federal agencies. So they know it's going on, but they won't work to stop it, because all these government agencies have their own self-interest in mind, not ours. And the bigger they get, the more self-interest they have. So how do you solve this? How do you end up getting in better shape personally as a little guy? Well, stop electing these Democrats in office that are giving away all this stuff, and get people in there that will give it back to you, number one. And number two, when you build your own business, and I'm an advocate of building business, and we've talked about this before, when you put a plan to build a business together, and that business is designed for success, then that is your hedge against crazy government antics that end up costing money, because they can't take your revenue away from you totally. Otherwise, there would be anarchy in the government. But when you build your own business and you follow the guidelines in building a business that we've laid out in these shows, and if you want to get a good handle on the guidelines, I wrote a book called Why the Rich Are Rich, and you can get a free copy of Why the Rich Are Rich by listening at the end of the show, and we will give you instructions on how to get it free. And you can read how the wealthy have done this for years, and they haven't worried about government. Nobody ever made their wealth on big government unless they've been ripping off the government as a government contractor. But when you build your business, we talk about various rules in building a business. And there's 7 seminars all over the internet on how to do this. But one of the areas that is used a lot in building your own business is real estate. You remember use and growth simultaneously? Are you getting use? Are you getting growth? Are you getting use and growth simultaneously? You want to have a product that you're selling that will offer others to get use and growth simultaneously, as well as you do in your business. We all know that a business will give you that. But when you have a product that allows others to do the same thing, you've got a winning combination. That's why real estate is so popular. And there's seminars all over the internet. There's popular personalities. I think one of them is Grant Cardone. If you haven't heard about him, he's all over the internet talking about creating wealth through real estate, because he gets it. When you have real estate, you're living in your house. Are you getting use? Yes. Are you getting growth? Yes. As the equity builds, yes, you are. Are you getting use and growth simultaneously? Yes. There are certain life insurance sales guys that are selling life insurance that when people buy it, they get use and they get growth, and they get use and growth simultaneously. Don't listen to bad advice, and don't listen to assumptions that are given you by financial people that have an axe to grind. So when you offer your products to others, like people that are selling art, you get use and growth simultaneously. Gold, you see it all over the internet. People are buying gold, and the people that are selling it. When your product offers the ability for others to benefit use and grow simultaneously, then you have a winning combination. And again, you can get the book and figure that out. So you want to ask the question, does your business offer use and grow simultaneously? And does your product give the buyer use and grow simultaneously? And when you do that, you will be able to win. And so a lot of times we worry about the free stuff and we focus on that when our focus should be on our personal lives and our business building and all of these things that make our lives better. Now, it was a bridge to bring government waste and freebies from the politicians and everything into talking about private business. But private business and our personal lives go hand in hand. We either work for somebody or we build our own business. It affects our life. It affects our personal nature. It affects our stress levels. And so when the government is constantly giving away free stuff and they divert our focus onto them, we take our focus off our personal lives. So don't buy into these politicians giving away free stuff. And don't buy into the fact that they're wasting money. When you leave the political stuff to the politicians and the people that vote every year correct it, or vote for people that have a focus on them, then you have a good barometer into what's good for our country. You want what's good for our country to be good for you. You are the person that makes it up. If you want all these free things, there's not enough money to go around and pay for it. Most people want to work for a living. They don't want free stuff. The only people who want free stuff are kids. And that's it's a third of the population. So focus on building your own personal lives, whether you work for somebody or you build your business. Focus on doing the best you can there. And believe me, you will. And don't buy into these politicians trying to get your attention by giving you free stuff. The only free stuff that you want to focus on is when they give you a tax credit or a tax deduction. And we talked about that in a few other shows in the past, because they affect your business. So when somebody says, I'm going to lower your taxes, that means your business is going to skyrocket. When they say, I'm going to raise your taxes, that means your business is going to suffer. So be smart about what you look for in a politician, and don't buy into all of these free things. And so, man, I get these robocalls all the time, and I forgot to turn my phone off. So anyway, I want to thank you all for coming. And Steve, thank you for doing your job today. You're very skilled at it, and I'm blessed to have you at the helm.
I enjoy being here.
I want to again tell you to pay attention here. You'll learn how to get the free book. So again, also, I'd like to have your comments. At the bottom of YouTube, you can give us your comments about these shows. So we do act on them. Anyway, I want to thank you all for coming, and have a great week. Take care. God bless.
Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. If you want to learn how to create real sustainable wealth like the extremely rich people do, or maybe you just want to sustain the wealth you already have, you need to check out Dr. Ray's new book, Why the Rich Are Rich. Ray's been coaching clients for 35 years and has completely unlocked the secret strategies that rich people use day in and day out to grow and sustain their wealth, regardless of what's going on in the economy. His book is completely free, and you can get it by going to whythericharerich.com and entering your email address. Again, that's whythericharerich.com. Head over there now.